Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Milpitas Chamber of Commerce sponsored Candidates Forum for the November ballot for 2014. I have the pleasure of having three moderators here tonight. Mr. Rob DeVincenzi from the Milpitas Post, editor of the Milpitas Post. Mr. Ian Bauer, also a reporter and assistant editor, thank you, from the Milpitas Post, and one of our wonderful charter members from both the Chamber of Commerce and the Milpitas Post, Mr. Mort Levine. So they are our moderating team for this evening. We also have on our timekeepers two of our chamber ambassadors, Miss Darlene Bright and Mr. Grant Higa. And I'm going to hand over to our moderator for this evening, Rob DeVincenzi, to take the program from here.
So I'd like to stand and do a pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Liz. And we're appreciative to the Chamber of Commerce for allowing us to return to ask questions for another year. I'd like to start off by reviewing the ground rules. Candidates, each of you will have 1 minute to answer each question. Candidates, when you reach 30 seconds, the timekeeper will hold up the 30-second sign if you'd like to show that. And then there's also a 10-second, when you're almost done, a 10-second sign. And then when the stop sign goes up, please stop there. Okay. There'll be no opening statements in this council contest because of the amount of candidates that we have. So you will have a 2-minute closing statement each. And we will rotate questions, so none of you have to start the question first all along. We've not shared the questions with any of the candidates, and we've come up with our own questions and woven in questions that have been submitted over the last 3 weeks to the chamber. So we'll get through as many of those as we can. With that, we'll begin our questioning. And the first question will begin with Mr. Barbadillo and end with Mr. Tran.
First question is, please tell us why you are running for Milpitas City Council and your qualifications. And Mr. Tran.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to thank all the residents of Milpitas for coming out tonight. It's great to see so many faces in the crowd, familiar faces. I also want to thank the Chamber of Commerce and the Milpitas Post for hosting this event. It's truly a fabulous opportunity for folks like me and the rest of the candidates here to express their views and campaign for their issues. I'm running for City Council to put Milpitas families first. I'm talking about the quality of life. I'm talking about the children in our schools. Milpitas families are what I know. Thank you.
All right, the next question will begin with Mr. Ferguson and end with Mr. Barbadillo.
Well, this is a simple question. Do you favor Measure E on the November ballot? Why or why not? Me?
We just heard a while ago about what Measure E, pros and cons, and we do know it will bring $8 million, which can restore many of the programs which were cut, senior programs, Rainbow Theater, my favorite because my son was involved in that, and fire stations, all 4 fire stations working at full capacity. And it's very good that you voters have the choice. You are going to vote on it. Let the voice of people be heard. Once you have voted, whichever way you decide, I as a council member will carry out the wishes. Let people have freedom of choice. I as a person and I as a council member are 2 different entities, and I want people to vote their conscience, their voice, and I will hear to it. Thank you.
Mr. Med, go ahead.
Thank you. As I said in the answer of my first question, I'm supposed to do what people want me to do. And the good thing is that this issue will be decided by voters, not by the council. I heard the debate before this, and there are social costs. There is no doubt about it, and there is money involved in there. So just like you, I will also make a decision whether to vote for or against after I digest that information that I have collected today. And I'm also collecting community feedback. What nobody talked about in that debate is if the measure passes, if the measure fails, end of story, no further discussion is needed. If the measure passes, what are we going to do with that money? Are we going to waste it or give something back to the community? What I want to do is develop a downtown and reduce utility rate, hire more cops if it passes. But we are no more intelligent than you are. Please make an informed decision based on the facts. Thanks.
Mr. Tran.
I'm no against Measure E. The theme of my campaign is families first. Another thing is, the casino is not a friendly family place. I think Milpitas should be nothing but friendly family places. Who's the casino going to cater to? The Asian people, right? Last thing. Santa Clara, they just built a new stadium. They're ready to just have some entertainment over there. They're going to build a casino. What happens when they build a casino? What happens when Fremont builds a casino? The Milpitas Casino is going to be in the dumps like Atlantic City. Thank you.
If the Bay 101 move to Milpitas is canceled because San Jose makes concessions or other reasons, would you favor going after a different operator of a casino? Would you simply drop the idea? Or would you target another large tax generator? Mr. Means?
If the community actually passes Measure E, then I'd have to reconsider my position, because I plan to be a representative of the people. But I'm more inclined to drop the casino idea. There are alternative revenue sources. I mentioned a long list of pollutants that are coming into our community. The classic poster case is diesel exhaust. 40 different carcinogens, small particulate matter that gets past the body's defenses and wreaks havoc for asthmatics. And then, of course, there's the nitrous oxides, which generate smog and a number of other problems. That is just one example of a pollutant that is sent into our community by big corporations that we must suffer without any compensation whatsoever from those polluters. I think that has to change. That's not fair. We can get some money from the pollution that's already coming into town.
Thank you. Mr. Tran?
If elected to City Council and the Measure E passes, you can count on me to vote against the casino development. I will stand by my values of putting Milpitas families first. I would target another tax generator. Let's revisit the Midtown plan. My uncle just had his 45th birthday, and we went to downtown Mountain View. I get lunch in downtown Palo Alto. I've even been downtown Sunnyvale. We've all been to Santana Row. Let's make Santa Clara Valley say, wow, look at Milpitas and their Midtown. What a great place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Milpitas has rezoned a large part of the city from industry to thousands of high-density apartments and condos. Much of that area's infrastructure, such as water, sewer, roads, etc., will need upsizing and/or replacing because of age. Who should be paying these costs, and are you concerned about ever-rising local utility costs without a vote of the residents? Thank you. Mr. Tran.
Who should be paying the cost of aging infrastructure? The new residents, the new developers. They should be paying the cost. They're tapping into our resources and infrastructure. We're time-tested residents. We've paid our dues. I was raised to work and earn my place, and new residents and developers should do the same. And part two to your question is the utility costs and who should. I think the utility cost increase should be up to the residents, and the people of Milpitas should vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Barbadillo.
Can you please use your microphone? Thank you.
Can I reset my time? Right. For the duration of my tenure as a planning commissioner, I've seen 6,100 housing structures and 3,100 coming more. What I have not seen is there are no participation, there's no impact fees for these new establishments. That is a source of subsidizing utilities. We should have the builders' participation on the cost of the utility rates. Secondly, we could do our own water source. We do our own reservoir. We make a feasibility study that will see if it is viable for the city of Milpitas to have its own water source, and that would be a solution. I don't agree with water increase rates. And if it happens, I need the public to vote for it. Thank you.
Okay. This next question relates to traffic. With the 49er game traffic, the 237 express lane, and the starting west of the city limits, the new residential developments and job growth, traffic in Milpitas is often terrible. What are your solutions to freeing up from gridlock? Mr. Tran.
Thank you, sir. There's not much we can do about the traffic. What we can do about the traffic is stop the multi-unit housing developments. I mean, this traffic's only going to get worse. We're expecting 7,000 new residents in our town. Imagine that. I drove through McCandless area and I saw all the housing developments. What I didn't see was mixed-use development. Where are folks going to buy their groceries? Where are folks going to go to the dry cleaner? I like driving around Milpitas and being a customer at our local small businesses. I can't even do that. There's so much traffic. I know once those new developments on Montague and 880 go up, I'm going to be in line at Safeway. It's going to be 40 folks in line. And it's not just our traffic, it's everything. It's our grocery stores and our schools. Thank you.
Mr. Ferguson.
So first, I completely agree with the premise of the question of traffic is a pain here, especially in the morning commute and the evening commute. I drive 237 too. I'm sitting there in the parking lot, feeling like it's a parking lot next to you. The answers to this are long-term and are not easy, but what we need to do is get more of us using public transit when possible. Now, we don't need everyone to use VTA and BART for it to improve. We just need the people who want to. We just need a percentage. One thing we can do, so all these new homes are being built around the BART station and around a VTA transit hub. So all the people there, it's easier for them and more convenient, or not all of them, but for some of them, to use BART and VTA, future BART. So what we need to do is, again, force the developers to give a certain length of pass, like let's say a 20-year pass for BART and VTA. If it's free, people are much more likely to use it, and then people will get in the habit and start doing it more. Thank you.
Relationships between the school district and the city here have been up and down over the years. The perception recently is that there was a lack of cooperation regarding a new school site, and there was a lot of community interest about a new school site on McCandless Drive. Recently, efforts have been made to improve the relationship, and it looks like the school plan is well underway. What should be done to maintain harmonious relations between the city council and the school body, since they both serve the same community? Thank you, Mr. Tran.
Thank you. As city council member, I'm going to put families first, and that means our children. Look, when I graduated from Milpitas High School over 10 years ago, I graduated with 600 other kids. Now I'm coaching JV football at the high school. We got a 4-1 record. The varsity team's undefeated. They're the #1 team in Santa Clara County. You know how many freshman kids are in the class? 900. I'm going to work tirelessly with the school board. I think they're doing a good job. I think with our support here at City Hall, they can do an even better job. Folks, move to Milpitas for our schools. Let's push the quality even higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barbadillo.
We have to understand that the Milpitas Unified School District and the city government of Milpitas are separate entities with separate mandates and separate budgets. As I sit in the Planning Commission, I've learned that in 1993, it was the last update for the visions and goals for the city of Milpitas. 20 years thereafter, there is the Midtown Specific Plan. There is the Transit Area Specific Plan, which was to be ready with the BART, the planning, the housing development. All of these were communicated to the school district and the city, and hand in hand, side by side, should be going forward with communication for the development of Milpitas. That's what's lacking, and that is what my agenda is: make a connection between the school district and the city of Milpitas to make sure that the phase of development for the city goes together and we serve the community. Thank you.
This will be the last question before closing statements, and it's 30 seconds per candidate to respond. And this begins with Mr. Montemayor. The question is, everyone favors more transparency in what the city is doing for a better informed public. What do you think is the state of transparency and open government in Milpitas, and what improvements would you suggest? Mr. Montemayor.
Yeah, I was here last night, and the mayor pointed out the transparency is really good. So for me to deal more with the transparency, as we talk about, he mentioned the budget is already projected to 5 years at least, if I'm right. Now, as I was saying a while ago, the bumping of electrons is the cash flow. In other words, there should be a coming cash flow. One was, we mentioned Bay 101. I'm 49.999 on
Thank you, it's time.
Thank you. 30 seconds each on this question.
Thank you, Mr. Tran.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. The state of transparency here at City Hall, I'm not very happy with it. And what makes me unhappy is because all my neighbors and family and community members aren't happy with it. Take, for instance, Measure E. Why are elected officials and former elected officials accepting money to influence this decision? I think those things should be separate. Additionally, I understand not a lot of folks, they work really hard and they can't make it out to the city council meetings. So let's bring the city council meeting to the community. Let's update our communications.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll now begin our closing statements. Candidates, you'll each have 2 minutes. We'll start with Mr. Tran and work down that way.
Thank you. I want to thank all the Milpitas family for coming out tonight and really engaging with this democratic process. I can't tell you how proud I am to see all these lovely faces sitting here before us and giving a damn about things that are going on in this town. I'm running for city council to put Milpitas families first. One of the proudest things for me is sitting down with Mr. Gutierrez, who's 88 years old, moved here in 1962, lives up north of Yosemite Drive, and he tells me about what's going on in the city. He's seen it all, and I want to serve him. That's why I'm running for city council. Grandpa O'Leary, over by the Milpitas Sports Center, where I grew up playing with the Milpitas Knights. I want to make him proud. I see the greatest generation out here. Y'all have done so much for my generation and our country. Thank you. But I need to ask you of one more thing that you can do for us. Please, make a decision and help the next generation of Milpitas. So, many of you might have been seeing my campaign banners around town. I've put up a few dozen. I'm really proud of those banners because they say Milpitas families first. Nothing else. I'm even more proud because if you knock on any of those doors, they'll open the door and they'll tell you who I am. I didn't just slap around all these signs. I mean, I know these folks, and they know me, and they know I'm working to serve them. That's why I'm running for city council. Please, tonight, when you walk away, please support Milpitas Families First and tell a neighbor. Thank you.